Hi there, I'm the Hat Person, and here are my top 10 games of 2015 with some honorable mentions at the end. Sunrun Kagura 2 Deep Crimson, I think, is the best Sunrun Kagura game that has come out to date, and I want to put on my hipster glasses here and say that I think it's better than Estival Versus on PlayStation 4. This seemed like such an enormous improvement from the previous game in both like mechanics, music, maybe not story, but definitely everything else. I love all of the different modes, I love the Yoma's Nest, I love how the story is not really divided into one thing or the other. They kind of pretty much bring everything together into this like one cohesive thing. I love all of the dialogue between the characters and their chemistry and the lessons that they end up teaching you at the end about, you know, not misunderstanding groups that seem to be opposite to you. Good, evil, are they sides of the same coin? Are they both the same thing? I don't know, just a lot of tough questions that are asked in that fashion. I love that they added a DLC character, Murasame, that is actually a guy, like the only guy in the entire cast, who also gets his clothes ripped out just like everyone else. Hashtag equality. I also love all the different game modes. I like that they have online co-op. I like that you have single player. I like that you have DLC expansions where like one of them is even like a side-scrolling shooter like R-Type. It's insane. I love the customization of the costumes, you can take pictures, I like the AR stuff, I love that there's a DLC expansion where you can like reduce or enlarge the breast sizes. I don't know, it's just really funny. They definitely don't take themselves seriously at all. The boss fights are really giant big, some of them are a little bit along the lines of unfair and frustrating, but most of them are really awesome. I also like the fact that they have actual real cutscenes this time, which just makes the game look a lot better, just in a presentation viewpoint, just in general. Also, the game runs so much better than it does in the previous game, Sunrun Kagura Burst. It just runs on a very consistent FPS, way better than the previous one, and the mechanics are better, it's a lot faster, it's a lot tighter. I feel like, yeah, it just leaps and bounds better than the first one, and I think better than the newest one, Estival Versus, that is out very soon. The Legend of Heroes Trials in the Sky series is something that really took me by surprise. This is only one of the many games that took me by surprise, by the way, so stay tuned for all of those. Whenever I asked about this game, Legend of Heroes, I'm like, wait, what is this? And all the game journalists were like, oh my god, it's so good. Why haven't you played it? You have to play it. How can you not know? It's so good. And so I went ahead and I played the first one, and of course, wouldn't you know, I loved it. I love the chemistry between the characters. I love the storyline. I love the world that is built. It seems very rich and lived in. I love, the music is really nice as well. I love, how you can kind of customize your characters with the orb bends and the way that you can kind of insert different spells to different characters and switch them out, and again, customization. I love that you're basically like this guy that just takes missions and jobs for people and goes out and does them. That really gives a lot of life and a lot of, you know, sense of naturalness to the game, in the sense of, you know, these are not like these contrived quests that you just happen to come across, but rather you're actually going there and taking jobs and helping people out. And so because I loved the first game a lot, then I went ahead and I got the second one, which came out in North America very recently, like a few months ago. And it was out in Japan for the longest time, but it came out this year for America and fully translated, so I feel like it still counts. It takes place almost immediately after, like a few hours, like after the first game. So if you really want to get the story, if you really want to get the full experience, I recommend you get the first one first, play that, and then get the second one. Both of them are pretty much identical, and you know, the first one was incredibly good. So, pretty safe to say that the second one is also incredibly good. I highly recommend it. Big, rich world, awesome, you know, chemistry with all the characters. Excuse me. It's on PSP and on PC, so I never thought I'd actually put a PSP game on my top 10 games of 2015, but hey, you know, it happens. I got taken by surprise, and this game is really good. It doesn't really break any boundaries in general with any, like, mind-blowing mechanics. It's just a very well-made RPG. I had a very hipster, kind of contrarian attitude to Rocket League. At first I saw it and I saw all the buzz and I thought it wasn't that big of a deal. I'm like, the game's not even that good anyway. You know how people get on the internet. And that was until I got it on PlayStation 4 for free, and I started playing it, and man, I cannot stop playing it. It's so good. It's a very simple concept, basically soccer and cars, put them into virtual space, and have it have just a lot of style. Have it be like this enormous sport with like an audience yelling, and then have a one that's like on a wasteland, have like the Back to the Future DeLorean on there. You can customize your car, have really quick, fast online matches, have different teams, 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, have seasons, have exhibitions, have all this DLC where you can have more stuff to customize your car with, and man, it's really good. It's just really addicting. It's a very simple concept, but it's executed in such a great way. It could have easily gone south. It could have easily made it very stale. It could have easily been very, boring and sterile without really lacking any kind of substance. But no, because of the style and the color and the music and the way that the game is presented with this very simple mechanic and just the way that the game feels control-wise, then yes, this really makes for a fantastic experience. If you have PlayStation Plus and you downloaded Rocket League for free, then I suggest you go and play the heck out of that. Or not, you can get it on PC, and it's coming to Xbox One very soon, so yes, get ready for that. Rocket League, again, the second game that took me by surprise this year. Adult Swim is one of those companies where you just don't know what to predict. I never knew I never even thought, like, ever in my life that they would be a video game publisher, and they're basically the equivalent, they're like a second Devolver Digital, in my opinion, where they bring out all of these kind of niche, kind of retro style looking games that are kind of mature, but really wild and kind of cheesy, that, they have a lot of charm, and they end up finding a good place in the industry. They end up finding like a good, nice spot there. Devolver Digital and Adult Swim should probably get together and do something like Hotline Miami 3.5 or whatever. But yeah, I was playing West Erato a long time ago on the Adult Swim website through the browser, and I liked it a lot back then. But now they actually made a bigger thing out of it, and they made West Erato Double Barreled, came out on Steam this year, and so I played it and I thought it was really great. I mean, it's such a more complete, more revamped, more solid version of the first West Erato. It's like comparing Persona 4 and Persona 4 Golden, Persona 4 Golden is such a big, complete, better experience with a lot of the small details kind of ironed out. Same thing with West Erato. So basically in West Erato, you're a cowboy, your family gets killed, you gotta go find the guy who did it. And so you gotta go and do quests, you gotta travel to different towns, and as you keep completing these quests, people reward you with clues as to how the murderer looks like. And so after you have enough clues to go by, you can go ahead and search from just random people walking around in the audience, like who is the guy that killed your family? And then after that, you go and you chase him, and it's all epic and it's all cool. I really like the art style of this game, and I like the style of it. You can pretty much do whatever you want in it. You can be as good or as bad as you want. There's a lot of comedy involved in it as well, which makes it really charming. The music is also really simple but very unique and nice. Everything has a bit of a Legend of Zelda Link to the Past feeling to it, where they basically just let you go into this big world and kind of figure stuff out for yourself with this one big main objective in mind. If you want to find a nice, cowboy style whodunit video game and you're tired of playing Clue, then you can go ahead and get West Erato. It's really, really good. It's really funny as well. Highly recommended from Adult Swim Games. Again, actually, no. I played West Erato before, so I'm not surprised, but I was surprised that this next revamped installment would be as better than I thought it would. Hotline Miami 2 is fantastic. I really loved the first one. I was fascinated by the story and all the trippiness about it, the music, the style, the weapons, the way that the fighting is handled, how difficult and hard and punishing it was. And I'm not usually into those kinds of games, but I beat the first one and I got very fascinated. I played it so much that I started speedrunning the first Hotline Miami. And that wasn't until the second one came out where I really got into the second one. I stopped playing the first one because I had to play the second one, and so the story's bigger, the characters are bigger, the music is way better, the style is way flashier. It's such an evolution. If Hotline Miami is Hotline Miami, then Hotline Miami 2 is Hotline Miami 1 on crack. It's just so much better. A lot of people might think that the story might be a little worse. I personally think it's better. To me, it just seems like the kind of thing that people, start to make up theories about on internet forums. It's just a very much tighter game. It just improves on every single aspect of the first one, especially in the soundtrack department, especially in the difficulty department. They really do ramp up the difficulty on this one, and of course, I played it, I beat it, I loved it. And so, if you guys love Hotline Miami 1, you guys are going to adore Hotline Miami 2 with all of the big improvements that it has upon the first installment. Super Mario Maker seems like kind of a no-brainer idea, and it kind of made me wonder, why wasn't this made years ago? Well, I guess maybe the technology wasn't there, or who knows, but I'm happy that it exists now in the Wii U. I've seen so many results come out of this game, so many big, tangible things happen that, oh my god, every single time I play a new Mario Maker level, whether it's on the 10 Mario Challenge, 100 Mario Challenge, or I see a YouTuber or some website create a Mario Maker level and I play it, I always find something new that I've never seen before ever made. Basically, Mario Maker the idea sounds great on paper, and it sounds great in execution as well. You can make your own Mario Maker levels, as simple as that, and it has that very very typical Nintendo simplicity that makes all of their games incredibly accessible, where even a child can make their own Mario Maker levels. And so you have all of the different aspects of a Mario Maker, of a Mario level. You have the blocks, you have the Goombas, you have the fire flowers, but you can go ahead and combine all of that. You can shake it to change its properties. You can change your art style from original Mario Brothers to Mario 3, Mario World, New Super Mario Brothers on Wii U. All of these very great, convenient attention to detail that make the game a lot richer, has a lot of style, and just seeing all of the online levels. You pretty much don't have to create anything. You pretty much just have to go into the online levels and just play all of them yourself, which, I mean, that alone has a lot of value and a lot of gameplay time. But you still go into your own levels and you play and you start creating your own levels, and then after a certain amount of time you get more little tiles and things that you can make for your level. Like, the more you create levels, the more stuff keeps getting brought to you. Well, okay, well, now you have the wings, oh, now you have fire flowers, now you have all of this, and they keep giving you more and more and more and more stuff, that you just end up having this big, you know, world of stuff that you can use to create your own levels. And you can combine things like a fire flower and wings, fire flower and like a mushroom to make a big piranha plant. You can make, you know, pipes that take you to a sub-level. Oh man, it's such a good game. And don't even get me started on the amiibos, where you can like insert an amiibo and then just have different characters interact on there. It's great. It's awesome. I feel like it succeeds everywhere where Little Big Planet was trying to succeed and kind of halfway made it. Here in Super Mario Maker, they make it all the way there. It's very simple, but again, that's exactly what makes Nintendo so special and so incredible. I love Mario Maker, and yeah, I'm probably gonna watch people play it, and I'll probably play it myself forever. Continuing on with the chains of games that have surprised me this year is Undertale. I'm a very big fan of the Shigesato Itoi stuff, like Earthbound with the 3, the works. But there are a lot of games that try to capture that same style, and they kind of fall flat on their face, and it feels more phoned in and more like they're trying to copy the same thing rather than, you know, trying to differentiate themselves. Citizens of Earth had that very big mistake of trying to push the Earthbound card a little bit too much, and so they kind of failed on that aspect. But with Undertale, Toby Fox pretty much stole that atmosphere and pretty much stole the same ideas, and he kind of molded it and changed them to kind of make it his own, and he pretty much He succeeds in every single aspect, with the exception of visuals. I think the visuals are a little inconsistent and rough, and they're very tough to look at. I think they're really bad. But, you know, everything else, like mechanics, writing, music. By the way, the Napster Blue theme song is my favorite one. But, you know, just the combat system and how original it is. It's kind of fusing like a morality system, but then you're also fusing a very typical, like, Dragon Quest style RPG onto it. But then you're also fusing like a Japanese shoot 'em up, like Ikaruga or something like that, where you have a little heart and a bunch of bullets coming your way and you have to dodge out of the way. But then you're also fusing like the reload animation in Gears of War as an attack. You know, like it's just such a big amalgamation of all these different things, and it works. It works very well. And you don't even have to fight. You can just talk to the enemies, you can try to relate to them and be nice to them, and you can spare them and they're alive. You know, you don't have to kill anyone in the game either, but you can go ahead and kill anybody you want as well. It's all a matter of decision, and of course, good endings, bad endings, neutral endings, you know how it works. You know, having characters like Toriel, having characters like Sans, and all of, you know, that skeleton that's all about, like, dating people and all that kind of stuff, the Tsundere plane, and, like, all of those enemies are, again, very Earthbound-like, very Mother 3-like, but is not a carbon copy. It feels like a very original thing that sticks out on its own. And, you know, for a game that was at one point one of the highest rated games on Metacritic of all time, those 10 out of 10s and those 5 out of 5s, they're not there for no reason. This is a really fantastic game that, again, took me by surprise, very much like Rocket League, came out of nowhere, took the world by storm, everybody on the internet is playing it, and yeah, I mean, I was very skeptical at first. I played it, the visuals still don't grab me, but literally everything else is a charm. I had to force myself to stop playing Fallout 4 on my PlayStation Vita through remote play just so that I could record this video. That's how much I've been playing Fallout 4 right now. I've put on a lot of hours into that game. Even though I don't feel like it's as good as it deserves to be, it very much is, by definition, a sequel to Fallout 3, in the sense that, you know, it is very much the same style, kind of the same setup. It is, you know, such a small improvement, not a vast improvement like, you know, stuff like Witcher or Westerato or even Senran Kagura. You know, there are a lot of technical issues that kind of hold the game back, but even then, the game is leaps and bounds better than what I expected, in the sense of, like, menu interface, having the, being able to use your Pip-Boy with your phone and all that kind of stuff. The dialogue got changed, and I'm not a big fan of that, but, visually it looks a lot better. It looks more solid. On PC, I guess it runs great. I've been playing it on PS4, but that just makes me more excited over how the PC version looks like, and how everybody will put in, like, mod support, and what they're gonna do with it, and all of those things that the community will do to make this game a lot better. They changed around the stats to make it a little bit more simple. I personally, again, not a big fan of that, but I understand why. The perk system got changed around, which makes it a lot more interesting. It's a lot faster to level up nowadays. The enemies are a lot better. It seems like they just keep expanding. They keep keeping the ones that they had before, but they change them around and they make them a little bit more special. You have those legendary characters, and of course you have all those, small nook and crannies that you can go and check. You can explore. You can, talk to everybody, take anything. All the junk you have actually matters now, because you can just go ahead and turn it into, like, weapon modifications and walls and houses and electricity. Like, there's always something to do there. And again, as I said, I've been playing right here a lot of Fallout 4, and probably after I'm done recording this, I'm gonna keep on playing Fallout 4, because even though there are a lot of things that kind of hamstring the game and kind of hold it back from being an incredible game, I still think it's really great. Regardless of my complaints, the point still stands that I've been sinking a lot of hours into it, and I do not regret a single minute of it. I've been playing the Witcher games very recently. I started with the first one on PC, and then the second one on PC as well, and I went to the third one on PS4. And man, it's almost like a very steep ladder over how much they have gone up and up and up and up in quality, and how far they have come from that first game all the way to this one. I feel like The Witcher 3 is like the pinnacle of how The Witcher can get. I mean, all the different variations of magic, and the music, the score is really fantastic. Getting up on your horse, Roach, and just going into a random town and going to the bulletin board and taking a quest, and just, choosing whatever you want, going there and hear some fantastic voice acting, and then just see, like, the lore come to fruition with your bestiary and all the enemies you fight, seeing information on them, and seeing, like, what their weaknesses are, the history behind them. It's a very soul sacrifice-ish kind of feel, where, all of the enemies have a story to tell, basically. And that's not even including all the civilians who also have their own problems. The entire world feels very lived in. It feels like this place actually has a lot of history. The story is focused on you trying to find your girl, Yennefer. But to me, as soon as I started playing, I'm like, dude, screw that lady. I want to go and, fight a Noonwraith and be awesome and get a bunch of experience points and loot all these people. It has a very Skyrim feel to it, where you have this one objective, and then most people end up ignoring it because they get distracted with a bunch of other million things that they're doing. It's just really incredible. I love The Witcher. I just love him. I love, the talking and the dialogue and the banter and how everything is written, and how, the accents, and like, oh, I'm going to go return Japan in the morning. I love just, it's a world. It feels like a world, and it's really fantastic. The magic, the weapons, the customization, the alchemy, the bestiary. Oh, it's so good. Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain is probably one of the greatest games I've played in 2015, period, and probably one of the greatest games I've played in a very, very, very long time. I never really got into Metal Gear. I had a lot of trouble getting into it with the first ones and the few ones. I do know that, the first one and the second one are pretty much the best ones. Peace Walker's really good as well. But, in general, I was never, like, a big, like, fan, slave, like, oh man, when's the next Metal Gear coming out? But then the fifth one kind of stuck out to me a lot. It seems to, like, it was such a big, enormous change from all the previous ones. This is a big open world. You have your horse, D-Horse, and you can ride along, and you can just do a bunch of missions, do a bunch of operations, and you can pretty much tackle them in whatever way you want. If I want to be an idiot and just go ahead and shoot everybody up like it's Call of Duty or whatever, it's perfectly valid. You can go ahead and do that. Or you can be basically the way that God intended. You can go ahead and be stealthy and just go in and out and nobody will notice. Only a few people, but you can tranquilize them with the pistol. And yeah, you can also do that too. It has a very Deus Ex feeling to it, in the sense that, whatever way you want to tackle a mission, you can do it. If you want to Fulton everybody, you can just go ahead and do that. You can just leave, Fulton everybody, go to your plane, Fulton the horse, it's fine. You can do that. I also love that you can, like, just all the different little weird bits of customization, like having costumes, having your companion Quiet be there and snipe people with her gun, also being able to have, like, 1980s tracks, just blare through the helicopter when it comes and picks you up. Is just really fantastic. It's the very typical Kojima style of having a lot of self-serious stuff, but at the same time you're wearing a chicken suit, so Yeah. I also love how the world changes as you do stuff. For example, if you kill a lot of people through headshots, the soldiers that you're tackling against wear more helmets. That's a small detail, but it's really incredible. Of course, the cardboard box, I love it. The missions, Mother Base, the cutscenes, the voice acting, the soundtrack, and like there's even Metal Gear Online, and I'm not the kind of guy that likes multiplayer, and even I had a nice time, had a decent time playing that. No matter what way I look at it, or no matter what I do in Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain, I always have an immense amount of fun, and more important of all, I always want more. If this really is the last game that Konami and Kojima Productions will ever put out in the sense of like a good, legitimate, actual Metal Gear Solid game, I feel like this is the perfect swan song. They could not have gone in a better light than they have now. Hideo Kojima, I take my hat off to you. Fantastic game. I love it, and I'll probably keep on playing it for a long, long time. I still need to complete a lot of missions. That's a big, big game, and I'm very much willing to look at all of it. And now that we're done with the top 10, let's move on to some very brief honorable mentions. These are games that didn't really make the list, but I still like them a lot, and I highly recommend that you guys go play them. I want to place BlazBlue Chrono Phantasma Extend as an honorable mention this year, because even though last year I put BlazBlue Chrono Phantasma, the original version, on the 2014 honorable mentions list, I feel like the game, the extended version of it, is so different, and it adds so much to the game in both like very small details in terms of mechanics, but it also has brand new characters, it has brand new story stuff, it has like an encyclopedia that has like all of the lore and all the information that you could ever want. It's such leaps and bounds different. I feel like enough changes have come from the original to the extended version that I feel like it can distinguish itself into like its own different unique thing, to which then I feel like it's its own separate thing. You know, it's very different from the previous one, and so it deserves a spot on this list with an honorable mention. I have had an enormous amount of fun with BlazBlue. You guys all know what I feel about BlazBlue. It's an incredible series. I love the story, I love the lore, and that just gets me way more excited for Central Fiction, which is coming out I think late next year. So yeah, I'm hyped for that. BlazBlue, I love it. Because Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 did not really give a lot of good results and left a very bad taste in all of our mouths, I feel like the next best thing, our safe haven, you might say, is playing some Olly Ollie 2. I got Olly Ollie 2 for free on PlayStation Plus when it came out, and I still have it on my Vita. It's a very small game, it's very brief, really fast. You can go ahead and, you know, play it when you're waiting or when you're on a commute or something. I love the skating, I love how it handles it, I love the improvements from the first one to the second one. Now you can do manuals, hey, you can rack up a bunch of points and you feel like an expert badass when you rack up like 1,000,000 points. I like the daily challenges. The music, not as good as the previous one, but I still, you know, enjoy it nonetheless. It very much feels, again, like a sequel in terms of, you know, not a lot here has changed, but it just kept adding upon something that was already pretty good to begin with. Olly Ollie 2, really fun. I highly recommend that you play it on your PlayStation Vita. On PS4 is cool, PC is cool, I think it's on PC. But, you know, this just seems like the perfect game that would be on PlayStation Vita. Just this small thing, very simple. You can play it for 5 minutes and then put it down. It's a perfect game for portable. Get it. Super Beat Sonic is another one of those games that took me by surprise, and I didn't even put it on the top 10 list simply because I got into it so late that I didn't think I would have enough time to actually have a cogent opinion on it. So with my very first impressions of that game, I want to say that it's incredible! It's a really cool game! Really, really cool. I did not expect it to ever surprise me at all. I saw it on the PlayStation Network store, and I really didn't think any of it. It seemed like a very generic looking rhythm game, but then I saw the reviews and they're like 9 out of 10, 4 out of 5, really, really good. And so I heard the soundtrack for it, I saw some YouTube videos, and I'm like, I gotta check this out. And so I checked it out, and it rocks. And it's probably one of the more difficult rhythm games you can find on the PlayStation Vita. It's really tough. You can use your buttons, you can use a touchscreen, the music is great. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna show any of the music here because copyright scares me, but yeah, it's pretty safe to say that, you know, if you looked at Super Beat Sonic, and you didn't really think much of it, don't let the visuals, don't judge a book by its cover. Play it. It is really, really good. If you're itching for a brand new rhythm game that challenges you in a completely different way, then I highly recommend that you go get it. Now, speaking of rhythm games, if you want to get into something that's a little bit more familiar, I would recommend Hatsune Miku Project Diva F 2nd. This is a sequel to the, you know, first Project Diva F that I reviewed on my channel, and it is pretty much the same game. It just has different songs, and I like a lot of the songs. It really doesn't improve a lot based on, you know, the criticisms that I had. I still, like, all of the criticisms that I have about it, I feel like still stand. They expanded the Diva Room just a little bit. They added a few more mechanics to, you know, the rhythm game game aspect of it. There's some more items, there's some more stuff that you can do to buy and to decorate. There are more modules and more costumes. There's a lot of DLC for this game, by the way, so if you get sick of the song list, you can go ahead and just download more of them and play them, and all of them have the same awesome quality that the previous Project Diva F games had. Basically, if you like the first one, you're gonna like the second one equally as much. There really isn't a whole lot different to it, just the song list is different, and that's pretty much all that matters, and the songs are good. So yeah, I recommend it. If you like Hatsune Miku like I do, then definitely go check it out. And again, I recommend that you guys get it on Vita, because I compared it from PS3 and Vita, and just the simple portability of it really makes the purchase worth it. And now that we're on the topic of portable rhythm games for a very niche audience, we have Persona 4 Dancing All Night. When I looked at the game, I really didn't think much of it. I looked at it and it looked kind of ridiculous and really stupid, and I was skeptical. I'm a really big fan of the Persona games, and Persona 4 in particular, and I'm like, this looks really idiotic. I really don't like this. It seemed like some stupid, like corny, very cringy kind of spin-off. But then I saw Hatsune Miku would be DLC, and then I immediately got in. And then Marie becomes a DLC character, Margaret is a DLC character, Adachi's a DLC character, and even adding that to like the story mode of the game, that is actually like the bigger meat of the game. A lot of people like the story of this game. It is very much a continuation from the original Persona 4 to here, you know. It's kind of like what are they doing now after the happily ever after? Well, you know, Risei's back to doing idle work, and everybody in the investigation team is out to help. And now, of course, you have shadows, and you have people disappearing, you have to go ahead and help out, and so yeah, it's a very legitimate story mode that has, instead of like RPG battles, you have dancing numbers with a rhythm game aspect to it. And I'm kind of disappointed over the soundtrack. A lot of it is from the Persona 4 reincarnation versions of them. They're remixes that have existed for a long time now. But there are a lot of really new tracks out there that are also really good. The dancing and the commentary in between the songs can be a little corny and a little like cringy, like, why, please shut up, why are you doing this? But if you're a Persona 4 fan, this is the game directed like squarely at you. This is very much for Persona 4 fans, and if you like it, then definitely get into it. I mean, the PS Vita is like the perfect place, I think, for like rhythm games and all that kind of stuff, and again, the portability of it really makes it worth the purchase, and I highly recommend that you play that with headphones, and get that Hatsune Miku DLC, it's great. Now, speaking of portability, I have a double dose of mobile games that I have for you on iPhone. It's called Lara Croft Go and Downwell. Those two games, I heard a lot of people say really good things about both of them, and yeah, I mean, I went ahead and I gave it a shot. Both those games were on discount at one point, so I got both of them on my phone. I'm playing them on an iPhone 4S, and it's really great. I got addicted to Downwell. It has a very much like a Binding of Isaac / like super crate box feel to it, where it's very retro, a lot of really nice creative enemies, kind of a roguelike in the sense that a lot of the levels are randomized, and you know, whenever you die, you gotta start all over from the beginning and you lose everything, but it's very arcadey. It feels like the kind of thing that I would definitely play on an arcade machine and just completely waste all of my quarters on. The music is great, the art style is great. I love that you can actually change the color palette of the game to make it look like an original Game Boy, or make it look like a Virtual Boy, or make it all blue and stuff. It's great. I love when they put that kind of stuff in games. I love the different weapons, I love the upgrades, I love that you control like a little glove looking man and you just go down a well. Again, very simple, very similar to Rocket League in the sense that it's a very simple idea that it just executed very well. And the same thing goes for Lara Croft Go. Whenever people think of Lara Croft, you think about the Tomb Raider games and big exploration, full-on 3D, and, you know, shooting arrows and all that kind of stuff and killing folks. But very similar to Hitman Go, this is a very, you know, compressed, simplified version of what the idea of those characters are. With Hitman Go, you had a very simple, you know, kind of like a board game aesthetic to it, where you would kind of do this puzzle game so you can go and, like, you know, assassinate people. But with Lara Croft Go, is very much like an adventure that is kind of fused with a puzzle game, where you have all of these different aspects, like, you know, like razor blades and puzzles and like crackling floors and walls and all that kind of stuff, and you have to figure out as Lara Croft to go from one space to the other and find out a way towards the exit, or to get this jewel or whatever. There's a lot of exploration as well in the sense of the environment. All over the environment, you can go ahead and search for different artifacts and different things that you can touch on the screen, and it's really awesome. There are a lot of chapters, and there's like some brand new updates with some new chapters. You have costumes, you have some really cool items. Stylistically, the game looks so unique from, other Tomb Raider games that it pretty much just stands on its own, whether you're a fan of Tomb Raider or not. Lara Croft Go, very similar to Hitman Go, took me by surprise. A very simplified, very compressed version of what the game is, and what the idea of Lara Croft is, and it pretty much thrives on it, and is perfect for the mobile space. And now we're getting back into rhythm games. There we go, I swear, just one more rhythm game. So, Crypt of the Necrodancer is the game that came out on Steam. I think it was at early access at one point, and it got out of early access. Very fantastic. It's pretty much a roguelike, but at the same time, it's also like a dungeon crawling roguelike experience, but it's also a rhythm game. Like, I really don't know how to explain it beyond that. But basically, like, the floors are tiles, and so you're this character that has to move from one tile to the other to the beat of the music. And basically, your time limit is however long it takes for the song to go. And so when the song is over, that's it, and you go to another floor, and what have you. You fight enemies to the beat of the music, you have to defend yourself in the offbeat, you find items that help you out. You have weapons, you have magic, you have different spells that you can, conjure by doing little, like, kind of DDR type combinations. There's a shopkeeper that sings to the music, like, and it's great. A lot of really good composers in here. Of course, a rhythm game is not a good rhythm game if it weren't for the great soundtrack, and it's really, really fantastic. I highly recommend that you guys go get it. The boss battles are very interesting, the enemies are interesting, and the way you tackle them are interesting, because they're all kind of, shaped around this whole rhythm game mechanic of, like, well, if you're gonna move and you're going to attack, you gotta do it to the rhythm, Like, you can never go off the beat. And of course, you have different modes that help you, and you have you have different difficulty levels, different characters that you can use. It's loaded. Get it. And the last one on my honorable mentions has to be The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D. Yes, some people keep saying that it came out last year. No, it came out this year, 2015, believe it or not. But yeah, I like it a lot. I've said this before in my top 20 favorite games of all time. Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask is my number one most favorite game, most favorite Legend of Zelda game out of all of them. And so seeing the 3D one come out it just brings back a lot of memories. It's a really fantastic game, very similar to Ocarina of Time in the sense that it got a graphical facelift. Everything looks and feels a little better. There are some things with, like, the difficulty of the levels and the dungeons and all that kind of stuff that got changed around a little bit. You have stuff like the fishing aspect of it that got added in there. It just is pretty much the same game, but it looks better, and some finer details got changed on there as well. So if you like The Legend of Zelda and you're a big fan of the Nintendo 64 one, chances are you're really gonna love this one as well. And of course, if you liked Ocarina of Time 3D, now is a good time to get into Majora's Mask as well. So there we go. Those are my top 10 games of 2015 with some honorable mentions at the end. Obviously, there's a bunch of other games that I have played this entire year that I loved a lot, but I don't have nearly the amount of time to be able to talk about them in full. And so now I want to encourage you guys to talk. If you guys have your own personal top 10 list that you want to talk about, go ahead and write it in the comments. You can go ahead and explain yourself, do some honorable mentions, do whatever you want. I want to hear you guys on your opinions on what you guys thought were your favorite games of 2015. This is my list, my opinion only, so go ahead and express yourselves down there as well. I hope you guys are having great holidays. I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving, a great, Black Friday, bought a bunch of stuff at a discounted price. I hope you guys are having a great Christmas. I hope you're spending it with your families or friends or people that you love. It's fantastic. Just go and grab one of these games that I mentioned here and play them with your friends. Go play Rocket League or something with your friends. Spend time together. And hopefully this year was great for you. It was definitely quite an amazing adventure for me. And here's to a fantastic 2016 coming up with a lot of really promising games down the line. So be safe. Stay awesome. Have a happy Christmas, happy holidays, happy New Year, happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever. And stay awesome. Keep gaming. And I'll be back next year with more Let's Plays and more commentary and more podcasts and all that kind of stuff. Subscribe to the channel. Give it a like. Subscribe. You're going to be seeing a whole lot of stuff come out of this channel. So, yes, get ready. I'm coming. Although I probably won't be wearing a suit all the time. But, this is rare. Just saying.